Hello. So great to see you. I am live. I believe everything appears to be working, so let's hope that it is. I am a minute or two early, so I'll just hang tight for a few moments for people to join. Everything appears to be working, so I hope you can hear me and see me okay. So I will start just by giving you a little bit of a background of the Ask Jess segment. So this came about a couple of weeks ago. I was very honoured to present to an online academy as their guest money expert. And for that, what I did there was people had submitted their questions in advance, areas and topics and common threads that they were feeling stuck and holding them back around their money piece. And so what I did was I was live with them, and it was interactive. I presented my solutions and my answers to their questions. They were there live. They were able to come back to me with further questions, and we could refine and go a bit deeper. Now, for days afterwards, I was absolutely delighted to receive such brilliant feedback about how transformational people had found that time to be. It really, one lady in particular said to me, I've heard it 100 times, Jess. I've heard it so many times before, but there was something about the way that you presented the information that spurred them into action, and they were then able to come unstuck and to move forward from there. And for me, that's what it's all about. That is what it is all about to me, is helping you to come out of overwhelm, fear, scarcity, and lack, and move forward into inspired, confident, and empowered action. And the key is that it has to be aligned action, because otherwise I can sit here and I can tell you to go and open that wealth account and allocate this money and do this and do this and do this. I can give you the best financial strategies in the world, but if they're not in alignment with you, they're not something that you feel passionate about and that you have taken on as your own and your personal mission that's going to help you, it's not going to be any benefit to you whatsoever. So that is why I'm not about sitting here and telling you what you need to do. I'm here to address your individual questions and your individual circumstances and what you feel is holding you back and keeping you stuck. And I'm here to address that and help you to move forward from that place without being, not from a place of sort of, I guess, in a sense, dictatorship. Okay, so that's not what it's about for me. So I'm really excited to be here. There's been some fantastic questions asked that are really going to help everybody. Even if it's not your question that's been, that I'm answering, I really think there will be something you can take away from that and implement into your own life, because I'm a big believer in that what is personal is universal. So if you are struggling with something, chances are that there are many others that are as well. So that is the key, is to take it, listen to everything that you get told and read and so forth, and then just take what you feel is applicable to you and take that and use that in your own business and in your own life. Now, there's something funny happening here. It's not showing me the chat for some reason, so I'm not sure, but it says that I'm live, and I can see the sound and that. So hopefully, if you have any questions, I will be able to access them. Where am I? Q&A, screen share. Sorry, I just want to make sure. There we go. Now I've got the chat here. Okay, excellent. Now we're rocking and rolling. So I can see some people coming in. So welcome. For the benefit of the replay viewers, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right through the questions now, and then when we get to the end, you can then pop in with any further questions, that you have, and I'll answer them at the end. But to keep it rolling for people who are watching the replay, let's delve straight in. So I'm going to open up the first question that I received, and that was a question, and it reads... where are we? We have a massive investment debt with no investment generating income on the other side, lost in the GFC. I feel guilty because it was my idea to go into it, and now every time I see it on my bank statement, I feel sick. We can only pay interest at the moment, so it's not going anywhere soon. Then there is the fact I left my high-paying corporate job to work for myself and have not reached the same level of income yet. Debts have crept back in, and I feel the pressure constantly when I have to keep saying no to things that we could afford before. I want to create financial freedom for my family, but the longer it takes, the more pressure I feel. How can I stop the guilt from past mistakes from hindering my money flow now? That is a beautiful, very, very beautiful question. And I know money is such an emotive topic for women. It's something that men are very cut and dry, black and white about it. Women, there's so many more emotions attached to it. There's self-worth, and particularly I find when women have left a corporate job to have a family and then decides that perhaps they don't want to go back to that same corporate role, that they're going to start their own business, that brings about a whole other added layers of pressure, not only from being a new entrepreneur, starting a new business and wanting to reach that same income level that you were at, but we're now doing that as well as juggling a family and raising a family. So there are so many more layers of complexity for all things money for women. So let's start with the first part of your question, which was the investment debt. Now, a great way to look at this, I believe, is to, we really need to only give energy and worry to things that we can control. So, for example, you cannot control the GFC. Okay, you cannot control what has happened with that. What you can control is your reaction to that, the steps that you take to eliminate that debt, and how you feel about it. Okay, so by worrying about things that we can't control, we give away our power to an external force that doesn't even know they've taken over our power. Okay, so we want to remain in a place of being, of course, assertive and alert to our situation, but not in a place of fear and worry and acting out of fear for something that we can't control. So the first thing would be to, I think, for you to work through and say, okay, what is it about this debt that is making you feel guilty? So from that, I can see that you are bearing the full responsibility because you believe, it was your idea to go into that debt in the first place. You say your idea to go into that investment. However, I ask you, did you do that, to get this result? Like I'm sure you didn't go into that with anything but clear and pure intentions to, as you say, create financial freedom for your family. So that was how you went into that arrangement, with a view of creating that financial freedom for your family. What you could not control was the GFC. Okay, that was completely out of your hands, completely out of your control, and nothing that you can do. And then this investment debt that you now have as a byproduct of that is weighing you down and making you feel guilty and resentful and fearful perhaps for the future because of the implications of that debt. So the first thing I would say is, I don't know if it's like most people these days log into internet banking on a daily basis. Well, it should be on a daily basis to review your accounts and manage your financial affairs. So the first thing I would do is, if you log into your banking platform and that investment loan perhaps is listed there on that platform, have it removed. Have it removed from your internet banking platform. Most banks, you can do that either through the online platform itself or through going into the branch perhaps and saying, I don't want this to show on my internet banking platform. Because it's like throwing it in your face. Each time you open up that internet banking platform, you're there being reminded of it day in, day out, day in, day out. And that straight away is an energy drain, an energy leak, and it affects your vibration and it affects your energy instantly. You can be in the best mood, having a brilliant day, everything's flowing well, and then you log in and see that. So the first thing I would be doing is removing that from there. Now, I'm not being a financial advisor or anything here, but perhaps there's also some practical things you would like to look into around consolidating, merging the debt perhaps into another loan or mortgage or whatever it may be. Again, this is completely based around your individual circumstances. So I'm certainly not saying to do this, but if you're feeling like there's some action you want to take around it to begin to break down that debt and to move it on, then you may want to meet with somebody and just have a conversation. Have the conversation about how the debt can be managed. And if you feel you're only paying the interest on it, it may be a possibility to merge that with another, so that you only have that one interest payment, perhaps instead of multiple interest payments over multiple avenues of finance. So that may be a practical step that you can take. The other thing I would invite you to get super, super clear around is, what is the number, okay? What is the amount that you're currently paying it off at, and how long is that going to take you to pay it off at that rate? Now, this can be confronting, and this generally sends people heading for the hills or to scrub the toilet or, whatever it may be. But I just, burying your head in the sand, it doesn't change the number and it doesn't change the outcome. However, being super aware of where you're at, where you're going, and how long it's going to take to take that path down that road, that is what is going to empower you and give you the confidence to continue to pay down and remove that debt. So we want to know, what's the amount, how long is it going to take you to repay it, and what those numbers are. So also, if we don't know where we're going, any road will do, are words that I speak all the time. So another thing we want to look at is, perhaps you're currently only paying the interest on that, but what's your goal? What is the amount that you want to be paying off of that debt? Okay, because if we don't know, there's no wiggle room, there's nowhere to go. But having that clear goal of saying, okay, just for the $100 a week off of this, having that clear goal of what it is and having it written down. And then as the business and as your income increases, incrementally increasing the amounts that you're paying off of that is going to give you the traction and the momentum and the confidence and the empowerment to pay down, eliminate that debt. Okay, the other thing, and I don't want to overload you with action steps. I could talk about this all day, but there's just one other thing I would like for you to explore around that, is to go into where were you at? Where was your thinking? What was your plan? Who were the other sources at play when you went into that investment? So is it, did somebody give you a hot tip? Was it, an advisor that told you to do that? What place were you acting from around that? Was it a place of empowered investment to generate income, or was it a place of fear, being told what you had to do, feeling like you had to do it, perhaps it just being the next step that you felt you had to take? Where were you when that decision was made? And the key piece there, and I've seen other clients get some really huge takeaways and learnings from that, okay? And sometimes the result can be directly linked to the place that we were in when we made that decision. So I would really invite you to be very gentle with yourself, but to take that insight and look at it. What place was I in? Who was I talking to? Where was I at in my life? Who was at play when I made that decision to go into that investment? And there can be some really, really great takeaways from going there. And as I mentioned earlier, this applies to everything, okay? If it's a credit card debt you're not happy with, look at each and every transaction on that credit card and identify where that transaction came from, what place you were at when you engaged in that transaction, and what you can learn from that. And that is really what it boils down to, is always remaining in that place of knowing, okay, and identifying what spurred these decisions, what brought these purchasing decisions, investing decisions, revenue decisions about, because we can learn so much from that place and then we can evolve moving forward. So if you were in a place of pressure, for example, to make a decision, whether it's internal or external pressure, once we identify that was the feeling that was at play, we can take action to not make decisions from that place again. If you're feeling that tightness in the chest and the constriction and internal or external pressure, you know that in the past, when you have made a decision from that place, it's not worked out well. It's not been positive for you. So we know that when you get to that place, you can step back and say, you know, I'm going to do what I need to do to remove myself from the situation, identify what's at play here, and then move forward from there, knowing that, you know, you don't have to make a decision in that moment when you're feeling in that way, because it's not a good place for you to be to make those decisions. So I hope you found that really helpful and not too overwhelming. I'm so passionate that I can sometimes just leap in and be like, do this, this will help you. But please do reach out to me if I can support you more around that, because as you say, it really can block the flow of income. But I think if you go through those steps that I've provided you, that'll really help you to get some excellent insights and also create a plan of action around that. And please reach out if I can support you to do that also. So as I mentioned, for the benefit of the replay viewers, I'm just going to move through the questions. So you can pop some other questions. If anything comes up for you while we're talking, pop your questions in the chat and I will get to them at the end once we've got through the other questions. So just want to have a little bit of an interjection just to say that I know money can be overwhelming. And for that reason, I'm celebrating you for being here today and for watching this and being engaged. And I do hope that if you brain pops have come up for you, jot them down, note them down as we go through, and really begin to, I guess, the biggest thing I want to say is really begin to play with it, okay? We want money to be a place of expression and energy and empowerment for you. We don't want it to be something that's like, ooh, that makes you feel like that, because nothing positive comes from that place of fear and overwhelm, okay? So we're going to drop the drama. We're going to step confidently forward, and first by making the declaration that you are ready to become a masterful manager of your money. That is the biggest step that you can take, and to not only be giving, airspace to those words, but to really feel them, to really believe them, and to really claim it. That is a commitment that you are making to yourself to become that masterful manager of your money. And I celebrate you for doing that and for being here today, whether it's live or watching the replay. It's an equal commitment, and I'm really thrilled that you have done that for yourself, because it really will. It really does have the power to change your life. So moving on to the next question. Where are we? We have, okay, this is another great question. I really loved reading and receiving this question because it's something that I really see as such a block and such causes so many smart, savvy, empowered and educated women to come undone. So I think this will be something that everyone will really benefit from. So all my life, I've been taught that money is external to me and it's hard to come by, as well as hard to hold on to. I want to embrace fully the adage that money is energy, but can't seem to fully get there. How do you recommend fixing unhealthy relationships with money? That is the $1 million question, isn't it? It really does embody everything that we as a generation are taught around money. Money is hard to come by. You have to work hard for money. Money is something that needs to be hoarded and kept and really held on to, and that you can't hold on to money, and that everything that comes in goes out again for for expenses and debts and so forth. And these are our real money blueprint and our DNA. So what I would encourage you to do is start back at the beginning, okay? When it comes to making peace with your money story and moving forward, I'm really not into Band-Aid solutions. I'm into transforming financial futures. So I don't want to just give you a quick Band-Aid to whack over, move forward, and then we know that Band-Aids don't last long. They come off and then you're back at the same place. So what I would encourage you to do is to take the time, you are worth it, to really peel back the layers and go back to the beginning. Okay, so we want to look at these words, the things that you've been taught around money is external to you, money is hard to come by, money is hard to hold on to. Where did those words come from? Okay, was it your mother, your father, your grandparents, your teachers, your friends? Where were those beliefs and your behaviors formed from? Who taught you this? Was it direct words that you were told, or was it conversations that you heard, or general feelings, looks that you were told? We all know the stern looks that we were accustomed to growing up. Okay, so identifying, number one, where these came from. What were the actual words? So I encourage you to go back to the very beginning. Look at the beginning foundation of your money story. How old were you? Where were you? What words did you hear? Was it that money doesn't grow on trees, money's hard to come by, we can't afford that, we've got a roof over our head, food on the table, we should be grateful for what we have, don't be greedy, wealthy people are horrible. We've all got our own DNA and blueprint of what those words that we heard were, the behaviors that we observed, and then, in a sense, generally took on as our own and our own DNA and blueprint, and have carried that forward well into adult life. So I encourage you to go back to journal, to sit quietly, peacefully, where you're not going to be interrupted. And for me, those moments are few and far between with young children. So perhaps a good time is early in the morning or late in the evening, or when you have a space and a time where you can sit on your own, sit quietly and really look and say, okay, what are these words that I heard? Who did I hear them from? Or where did I observe these behaviors from? And what do they mean? That can be really, really important to just identify where they came from. Okay, now what you'll often find, I find this happens all the time with clients and students, something won't come up, or you'll sit there and nothing will come to you. Okay, it doesn't always happen in the moment, but what you've done is you've planted the seed. Okay, you've planted the seed, allow time for it to germinate and see what comes to you later. For me, it's usually when I'm in the shower, everything comes to me, but really just allowing it the time to come to you and see what comes up for you. Okay, so that's one part of it, is identifying those words, beliefs, and behaviors, where they come from. And be as specific as you can. For me, I have a very distinct memory of when I was about 6 years old and I was holding a phone in the hallway of my home. Okay, that is a memory that resonates and has stuck with me. So try and be as specific as you can. Who said those words? Where were you? Were you in the shop and you wanted something and you were told these words? Where were you? Who said it? And I find it really, really fascinating that our money story and our beliefs and behaviors around money are in place by the age of 8 years of age. Okay, so by 8, we already have the foundations of our money story, which is really, really young. So that's something that you may want to look at around that age. Before that age, what came up for you? Because clearly it's something that you've been shown and taught and has been modeled for you. So one is to uncover what it is, and two is to begin to create the new reality. Okay, this is the great thing about your money story. You can decide to rewrite it at any point that you want, whenever you want to do so. Okay, so if, for example, one of your beliefs are one of the installed beliefs that forms part of your default operating system is money is hard to come by, what you now have the opportunity to do is to create the opposite truth. And for me, one of my personal affirmations is that money flows effortlessly and easily to me for doing what I love. And I speak that every day as my truth. Okay, so what we're doing is we're taking the old and we're saying, what is the new that you want to create around that area? And that can be really, really powerful to do so. So for each of those beliefs, and I recommend creating 10 to 20 new money rules, new money stories. Money flows easily through my life. I always have enough money. I love money. Money loves me. I'm a great stewardess of my money. I take great care of my money. There's always enough money for everything I desire. really creating, and I can rattle off 50 of those. But again, unless they're aligned to you and you believe and you understand them and you appreciate them and take them on as your own, it's not going to be as powerful for you. So that's super important, that you create new money truths that you want to be your truth, that mean something to you and are aligned to you. So that is how I encourage you to move forward from that place, is in, with fixing that unhealthy relationship around money, is to identify where it's come from and begin to put in place your new foundation that you want to be your truth. Now, when I say this, it can be, if you feel like you're definitely not there and that money doesn't flow effortlessly and easily to you, our mind knows no logic. Okay, our mind doesn't subscribe to the here and the now and the black and the white. So we can reshape those beliefs. And what we focus on expands. So if you focus on your new belief around money flowing effortlessly and easily to you, that's what's going to happen for you with inspired action. Okay, I'm not sitting here saying meditate, speak mantras, and you're going to become a millionaire. There is an equal blend between inner and outer work that needs to happen, but the inner work is a massive, massive part of it. And so what we want to do is update your default operating system from all these old, negative, stale money beliefs that aren't serving you, and update them to the new and improved one. And that is a process of time. Okay, you didn't get those nasty, crappy beliefs overnight. They were shaped into you over a period of years. So although we can fast track the transformation, it is not going to happen instantly, generally, for all people. So that's why we need to give yourself the time and the space to create those new beliefs and start to believe them more. The more you hear it, the more you speak it, the more it begins to become not only your reality, but also something that you believe. So that is something that I really find really, really powerful. And the other thing is gratitude, expressing gratitude for what we have. And this was something I was talking to a very dear client last night, and a few months ago, I'd said to her, pay your bills with love. Whenever you pay a bill, be grateful that you, one, have access to the funds to pay that bill, and secondly, have belief that money is a renewable source, and that's not the last $50, $200, even $2,000 you're going to have. Let the money flow through your life in and out. And at the time, she didn't actually say it to me, but last night she said to me, Jess, when you told me that, I thought you had lost your mind. I get that a lot. But anyhow, she also shared that the night before she had paid a whole heap of bills and accounts, and some that she even didn't believe she had to. And I actually agree with her that, they weren't her bills to pay. She did not have to pay them. But even the ones she didn't have to pay, she paid them with love, because she now believes that there's plenty more where that came from in terms of the money. Money is a renewable source, and it's great to keep the money flowing for everybody. So that's, even at the time, if it feels crazy, in time it will become your reality, and you will get that belief that is, it will come true for you. So it all starts and ends with belief. Do you believe that you are worthy? Do you believe that you can create this? And do you believe that this is what you want your reality to be? And that's where alignment becomes super, super important. So we are getting close to the end of our time together today. So as I mentioned, if you have any follow-up or further questions, pop them in the chat and it will be my absolute pleasure to answer them for you. And I just want to close today with saying that, this is the first of the Ask Jess segments. You are a pioneer. You are a trendsetter. You are here today. And as I say, I celebrate you and I congratulate you and I thank you for doing that. I'm so thrilled to have you here. So what I really want to begin to do through these segments is to educate, empower, and equip you with the skills, the knowledge, and the confidence that you can become the masterful manager of your money. And you absolutely can, okay? You might say, oh, that's great for you, Jess. You sit here as a qualified accountant saying that. And that's true, I am a qualified accountant. but I was also a year 10 dropout. I did not even finish year 10. So when you have a dream, when you have a passion, and when you're aligned with something, you will leave no stone unturned to make that your reality and make that your truth. You know, not all that long ago, I was a year 10 dropout that had I hated maths. But I had this burning desire to become an accountant. And I stuck to that, and I stuck like that with glue, and I seen it through. You know, no member of my family had been to university before. I was the first to do so, but I had that burning dream, that desire, and I made it come true. You know, it wasn't smooth sailing. It wasn't easy. I submitted assignments the day before I gave birth to my daughter. I sat exams when my daughter was only a matter of a couple of weeks old, and my mum and my nana were walking around the exam venue with her crying because she was breastfed and she wanted to be fed, and I had leaking breasts through the exam. You know, it's not always smooth sailing, but just because you bump up against resistance and just because you bump up against fear, it does not mean that it's not meant to be. It does not mean that it's too hard. It just means, you know, this is a bit of a test. How much do you really want this, Jess? You know, are you prepared to be uncomfortable? Are you prepared to do those things? And I was. And now, you know, reality on the other side of pushing through that is brilliant. And I'm so thrilled and proud of myself that I did that. And it's absolutely the same thing with you becoming a masterful manager of your money. So you can totally do it. Make the commitment. I'm here all the way to support you to bring that to being your reality. So on that note, time has finished. There's no further questions that have come through. So I've either answered everything brilliantly or I've scared you all away. Either way, I'm here for you. I'm here to support you. You can reach out to me via email, jessica@chicmoney.com.au, and it will be my great pleasure to support you. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me and just begin to take those actions like I outlined each day today. Okay, so one little action step you can take today is to know your number. Okay, so if I ask you what's your revenue been this week, how much money have you spent in expenses this week? What's the balance of your mortgage, credit card, store card, car loan, whatever it may be? Can you tell me those numbers? Do you know those numbers? And if you don't, now's the time to get to know those numbers, because that's what's really important. And we're going to get the most from that transformation when you see those numbers, revenue increase, and debts plummet. So we want to know what your baseline is. Knowing your financial baseline every day is really, really important. And essentially, to be completely blunt, you can't have a successful business without knowing these numbers. Okay, it's not cool anymore to just bury your head in the sand and pretend it's not happening. And I don't want that for you, because you deserve the fullest and best expression of your success. And this is what you need to be able to know to take you there. So put in place your actionable. It will literally take you 5 minutes to get those, to know those numbers. So go and find those numbers and flick me through an email to tell me that you did that. It will make my day to hear that. So I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you again next week. Bye for now.